I write the UK's most popular hybrid program, and here is how I write a program. So I've got a checklist when I write a training program. We want to talk about the goals of what the program is, who the program is for, and what the goals are of that block. We want to talk about the priorities. We then need to go through the structure. We need to go through the muscle groups that we're going to be using. We need to go through the movement patterns that we're then going to be using within those muscle groups, and then we go through periodization. So today, we're going to go through all of those except for periodization, which we will do on another video. I write the Marchon Game program, which is our online functional bodybuilding program. We have over 1,000 people on that program, and the goal is for people to be as strong as they can in key lifts like squat variations, deadlift variations, bench variations, etc. We want them to be as muscular as they can be, so we're trying to do a lot of bodybuilding volume, or a decent amount of bodybuilding volume. And then at the same time, we want them to be as fit as they can, particularly in running, because of how popular the hybrid movement is at the moment and people trying to run alongside strength and bodybuilding. So we kind of have three main priorities. We want to prioritize bodybuilding, we want to prioritize absolute strength work or top end strength work, and we want to prioritize some conditioning as well. So those are three specialisms that don't necessarily all work well together that we need to prioritize and map out in this block for them to be able to bring all of those up at the same time, which is tough. So the first thing we're going to do is create our structure and our priorities for the program. So typically the game program is always 10 weeks long. That means that we have 8 weeks worth of progression. We then have a testing week where we're testing those key metrics or those testing metrics that we've created. And then we have a deload week where we're reducing the volume and the intensity before we go into a new block. So the first thing is we want to figure out the priorities. So what we're going to be doing is a 1 rep max back squat and a 1 mile run. Now, for those of you that have been following hybrid for a while will know that this is actually kind of like the OG hybrid test. A guy called Adam Klink was the first person to back squat 227 kg or 500 pounds and run a sub 5 minute mile on the same day. Now, for anyone that has any idea of just how hard that is literally insane to be able to be that strong in terms of absolute strength and to run a 5 minute mile, which is a very quick mile time. You have to be an absolute freak athlete. So the goal of hybrid is very similar to what those two tests are: someone to be really, really fit and someone to be really, really strong. So having done the game program now for 2 years, the goal of this program is to ease people into that hybrid test where they're testing a 1 rep max back squat and a 1 mile run. Those that can't be asked to run, I've given the option of a 5K bike as well. So if people want to do off-feet conditioning, they can. Plenty of options to be able to do that within the week. So the next testing metric is going to be a 3 rep max bench press. Previous block, we did a 3 rep max overhead press. So I want to bring back the bench, but I don't want it to be as much work as the 1 rep max back squat. So I've put it as a 3, so they have some higher reps at the start of the block. And then the last thing is going to be a 5 rep max stiff leg or straight leg deadlift. Now, this is an exercise that we haven't done in the game program before and something that I'm really excited to include. So once you've figured out the priorities for the training program, we then need to figure out the structure for the week. Now, the structure for the week is something that people often debate a lot. Should you be doing a push-pull legs? Should you be doing an upper-lower? Should you be doing upper-lower full body? There are various ways that you could go about it. What I've decided to do for this next block starting the 30th of December is 3 full body days. Now, I've done a video on my Instagram as to why I've done that, but the general reason being is that we're distributing that fatigue over the week as opposed to absolutely destroying our lower body on one lower body session where we're doing maybe 16 to 20 sets of lower body volume in one day. And speaking from personal experience, by the time you get towards that second half of that lower body session, you haven't got that much left in the tank and you can't find the intensity or create the intensity that you need to get the stimulus that's going to be able to continue to build muscle. So instead, we take some of that lower body volume and distribute it over the week so that when you do 6 to 8 sets worth of lower body volume on a Monday, a Wednesday, a Friday, for example, you can match it with a bit more intensity versus you doing all of that volume on one lower body day, and then by the end of that session, you've got nothing left in the tank. So the general structure for the game program is 5 training days. So full body day 1, conditioning day 2, full body day 3, full body day 4, conditioning day 5. Now, the way that I give this, or the way that I structure this within the app, is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, rest Thursday, full body Friday, and then conditioning day on Saturday. That's from personal experience, and as a coach, I think is the best way for people to approach this. But I do put it in as these are 5 days worth of training, and you can split that out however you want over the week. So we've got 3 strength days and we've got 2 conditioning days. However, this conditioning day, you could essentially do a 3rd conditioning day if you wanted and slot that 3rd session or that 3rd conditioning session somewhere within the week, maybe as a double day one of these days, or you put that easy day on a Thursday, for example. I personally don't do that, but if someone feels like they want a little bit more conditioning work, they can. So once we've created our structure, the next thing that we need to do is go through muscle groups, distribute those muscle groups over the week, and then we select the movements. Just to save me writing everything out, again, all I've done is I've just put all the movements that we're going to be doing, but I'll talk through the muscle groups that you're going to be using with each of those movements. So full body day 1, we've got back squat, bench press, barbell split squat, dumbbell incline press, T-bar row, EZ bar curl, and then Rapunzel press. Now, bearing in mind that the way that I've programmed this is to have flexibility for people that have access to, some people might have access to machines, some people don't. Some people have access to cables, some people don't. Some people train in a CrossFit style gym, some people train in a bodybuilding style gym. So with the size of the amount of people on the program and the size of the program, I need to be able to give potential variations or exercises to these movement patterns if people don't have access to equipment. If the goal of this program was solely bodybuilding, then I would probably advocate for people to use all machines, but bearing in mind that this needs to be a little bit more functional style bodybuilding, so there are some more variations that lean towards free weights, dumbbells, etc., rather than it just being fixed machines every single time. So on that full body day, back squat, that's going to count towards quads and glutes. Bench press, that's going to count towards pecs. Barbell split squat, the variation that we're going to be using is only really going to be counting towards quads. Dumbbell incline press, that's a high incline, so it's delt, not pec. T-bar row, I've counted that as upper back and lats. And then EZ bar curl and Rapunzel press is biceps and triceps. I give people options, maybe 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, for them to be able to decide how much volume they want. In most cases, people always go for that top end, which isn't necessarily the best way. So we've got those full body on day 1, conditioning day 1. So this will always be a higher intensity running or conditioning session. Now, the reason why we do that is that we want to get our most taxing session in early on in the week. Now, I will talk about energy systems on another video, but essentially the energy system that we're going to be working here is very much aerobic power. So that's going to be VO2 and lactate threshold type sessions. So they're going to be shorter, punchy sessions that require a decent amount of recovery and are going to be relatively taxing. But this is probably going to be your most taxing, or is going to be your most taxing conditioning session in the week. So we want to get that in the session or in the week early doors so that we're not absolutely fucked by the end of this week and we've got nothing left in the tank. Again, I'll talk about progressions and periodisations on another video for this. Day 3 is going to be your second full body day. We've got some dumbbell incline press, that's going to be pec volume. Hip thrust is going to be glute volume. Pull-ups is going to be upper back and lats. Hamstring curl is obviously going to be hamstring curl. Calf, single leg calf is going to be calves. Cable curls for biceps, and then cable crunch for abs. So again, on average, somewhere between 2 to 4 sets for each of those. But from the volume, which I'll talk about in a second, I've just distributed it as 3 working sets. Obviously, they're going to be resting on a Thursday, hopefully, and then on Friday, they'll come in and do their final full body day of the week. So that's going to be some stiff leg deadlifts or straight leg deadlifts, however you want to call it. You've got some lat pull downs, that's going to be bilateral, so both arms. Single arm lateral raises, that's going to be delts, particularly mid delts. Cyclist squat, which is going to be quads. Seated calf, calves again, obviously. Closed grip bench press, and then plank. So some of you might be saying, oh, you're doing calves twice in the week. Yes, this is very, very important for you to be getting at least 6 sets, if not 8 sets a week of calf volume. Reason being, your calves, particularly your soleus muscle, take 9 times of your body weight when you run. Now, if we're wanting to make sure that we don't catch injuries and we're strong, we're resilient, and we're able to tolerate the volume that we need to make sure that we're getting multiple touches of calf training within the week if we want to run. That brings us on to the last day, which I call a pump and aero day. So conditioning day 2, they have the option of an easy zone 2 bike or run. What I usually suggest is if you're running on a Tuesday, do an easy run. If you're biking on a Tuesday, do an easy bike. And then what would be a good substitute if someone wanted to do a third conditioning session in the week would be take that bike option and add it in somewhere within the week if you are a runner. So you're getting another bit of aerobic conditioning somewhere else within the week that's going to be off feet. And then likewise, if you were doing 2 bike sessions, you could add in an easy run just to develop the skill of running somewhere within the week that's not going to be too taxing. I would probably say that if you're going to do it anywhere, it will be on a Thursday. So yes, you're not necessarily resting, but it might be like high day, low day type thing. Then I give people the option of an upper body pump. Now, the vast majority of the people on the game program are guys, so it's going to be much more of a preference towards t-shirt muscles than it is building a fat bunda. So we've got rope curls, overhead tricep extensions, pec flies, and chest supported rows. Now, the reason we've got a rope curl in there is just to give us some form of neutral grip bicep work that we haven't got within the week, and then overhead tricep extensions to give some form of tricep work where our shoulder is in a flex position instead of in an extended position, because it works different heads of the tricep. Particularly on the overhead extension, you're working more of the long head of your tricep. Pec flies, chest supported rows. So that's the structure of the week, and obviously we've decided the movement patterns within there. If you want to see more videos like this, I could maybe do a little bit more of a breakdown as to why I've chosen some of the exercises and the variations that I have. But right now I just want to give you a bit of an overview of how to structure a training program. So typically on the game program, the general demographic are people that are coming from more of a bodybuilding style training split and then moving into more of a hybrid. So they want to start adding in running, they want to start adding in biking, maybe they want to be more sort of triathlon with bodybuilding, etc. Or they're coming from maybe a CrossFit style training and they want to add in more bodybuilding and strength work into their program. Now, what typically happens when people start to become more hybrid in their training style is they just throw the kitchen sink at everything. They do a powerlifting program on top of a bodybuilding program, on top of a running program, and then literally run into a brick wall within a few weeks and months. Your body cannot tolerate that much volume unless you are literally dialing in everything or you're slamming juice. So we have to be a lot more particular and a lot more intelligent with how we use the volume that we need to touch on to be able to get strong, to be able to get fit, and to be able to be muscular at the same time. Now, with all of these in general, these different muscle groups, you've got quads, glutes, hams, calves, abs, lat, pec, upper back, delt, bi, tri. With all of those muscle groups, I would say somewhere between the 3 to 9 sets per week is probably going to be the right amount for you. We know that 10 to 20 sets per week is the upper end of that training volume that we want. But actually, you can get away with going lower volume and still see improvements in your strength, see improvements in your recovery, and at the same time, it's going to allow you to get fit with these specialisms as well. If you're doing 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week, on top of running volume, on top of absolute strength work, you're going to be absolutely smoked. So we need to be careful to reduce that volume, keep the intensity high, manage the frequency over the week well, and that will allow you to maintain your muscle mass or improve your muscle mass whilst you get strong and fit at the same time. So I've just done a little tally of each of the muscle groups that are going to be working with this, and that's not secondary muscle groups, that is primary muscle groups. So I'm not counting triceps in a barbell bench press. I'm counting only pecs in that. Yes, you're going to be using quite a bit of delts, but I'm still only counting pecs. So it depends how you count that volume, but quads have got 9 sets, glutes have got 9 sets, hams have got 6, calf 6, abs 6, lats 9, pecs 6, upper back 6, delt 6, bi 6, tri 6. That's not including the optional pump that we're doing on a Saturday as well. So you could add in a bit more bodybuilding volume if you want. So to recap on how we write this program: goals, who's it for? What are we trying to achieve? What are the priorities of the training program? What's the structure that we want to include to be able to include everything we need in the week? What are the muscle groups that we want to be able to include? Some people do this by patterns, but I like to do this by muscle groups. Then you have movements, the movement patterns that you're going to be using within that, and then we periodize. So if you want to see another video like this, where I talk about how I periodize all of these movements over a 10-week training program, let me know in the comments below. Other than that, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that helps.